This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Tom, we were just talking about Arkansas's NIT chances. Based on their remaining schedule, you've got two very much winnable games, maybe a toss-up, and then two brutal games going to Rupp and going to Coleman. How do you think it sets up for the Razorbacks in the final 5 regular season games?
Well, I think what you're seeing is a typical Eric Musselman team getting better as the season has gone on. And, yeah, they could have won that game at Mississippi State the other day. And it's an unfortunate set of circumstances that has led to a shortening of the bench, but it seems to have helped. So when Keon Minifield, Jalen Graham come back, what will that do for people's minutes? And so I just feel like, Mekhi Mitchell, we've had the conversation a few times. He needed to be better and play a big role in them getting the season in a different direction, and he's done that. They'll be favored to beat Missouri, and as Chuck was just pointing out, these games against Missouri and Vanderbilt, anything can happen. I mean, A&M, I paid a lot of attention to A&M going on the road to Vanderbilt and losing the game. So, and I heard your discussion about the net. I just don't think there's any way. I mean, even if they were to win at Kentucky and Bama, I don't think there's any way for them to, if they win every game the rest of the year and get to the finals of the SEC tournament, maybe they've got enough steam going to be considered, but it's a long way back.
So,
and we're talking about the NIT tournament when we say that.
And it's pretty wild to say. So what do you think?
Change in a year,
Tom? What do you think about my thought that they should, if they do somehow get that set invitation, that they should decline it? Am I right, or is that the incorrect way of looking at a potential NIT invitation?
That's a really good poser, because it's what's the momentum, the excitement level of the team at that point? How many guys? I mean, I'm sure they're forming opinions right now on how many guys they want back, who they want back, and there's some guys with eligibility. You could be starting with a pretty strong backcourt. I mean, Devo has another year left too. So, Battle and Mark and Minifield all have eligibility. Pinion and Blocker, so that's a lot of guards again. But I don't know. I would hate to see them turn one down, but I think there's a lot of veteran type teams like this who there's been a recent history of turning them down. So I think it'd have to be weighed upon what the level of excitement they feel is. Who knows? Would they get home games, and would people come to them? So all these have to be taken into consideration.
Tom Murphy with us on the McClarty-Daniel hotline. Coach has talked about playing 80 good minutes, the first 40 in a loss, the last 40 in a win on the road at A&M. You've got Missouri and Vanderbilt coming up. What kind of confidence do you think this team could gather from a 3-game winning streak?
Well, certainly could be building, and I like, their offense looked different. They look like on a mission and running more crisp sets and winding up in the hands. I mean, I know they set up some stuff for Mark specifically, and he did a pretty good job with that. They got out in the open floor, and they look good too. I mean, that play where I think Blocker got his finger on a 3-point shot by Taylor, wound up in the hands of Mark. He dribbles behind his back to get around Garcia. Full fast break, and Davenport with a layup. That was one of the better plays in that game. And A&M, to me, huge mystery what's going on. They've played well enough to, I think they've beaten Tennessee at home, and then they're in a funk. I was listening to their post game radio, and they were describing it as just being in a funk. And Arkansas has had the answer to Boots Radford. He's been so frustrated. And then obviously they centered in on Taylor and did not let him be an open 3-point shooter the other night, and it paid off.
All right, let's shift gears, talk some baseball. Big weekend coming up in Arlington. We'll find out a lot more about this baseball team over the weekend. Oregon State up first, Tom, and what I think are great measuring sticks over the 3 games in Arlington.
Absolutely, they will be. Arkansas has done pretty well down in Texas in recent years, so always would be nice to beat the team that took away your national championship in 2018. So that'll be the starting game, and I expect Hagen Smith to bounce back well. his grip on the ball or what have you that prevented a quality start the other day. Just got to get his control under, he's got to get his control better. So I expect he'll do better. And then, Michigan's fallen off a little since they went to the championship game a few years ago, championship series. And so, I don't know. It'll be fun. It's always fun to play those big-name teams.
Tom, we also got some announcements. We're talking to Tom Murphy here on the McCarty-Daniel Hotline about football, which is going to start relatively soon for spring. You'll have the spring game, and then the late Dean Weber, his celebration of life will be after that inside of Bud Walton Arena. Are we overlooking Jacoby Criswell and his ability to win that job this year collectively?
Well, yeah, I think we're overlooking everything about football right now. It's been pretty quiet. And they didn't generate a ton of excitement with the signing class. But, really a winning football team is about how that team bonds, how they believe in the plays they're running and the sets they're running and finding playmakers. And so the quarterback battle is going to be about the most interesting. I was thinking about it a few weeks ago. We haven't had a true quarterback battle since the Morris years, and do those really count? Because it was such a mess. So, I think a lot of people assume Taylor Green will come in and have a really good shot, but Criswell, he did pretty well in the Missouri game, his most extended action, and he's certainly a dual threat guy, and we haven't seen his running at the highest end. I mean, he had one long run, but he hasn't done a ton of it. So it'll be fun to see that develop, and then can you count out Singleton, and can you count out KJ Jackson, the signee? I don't know. So it's going to be fun to see.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.